Welcome back. I'm so excited to be here with you and sharing these fun new episodes. A lot of the upcoming episodes I have previously recorded before I had my baby, so it's been so fun to look back at these previous ones. I am so excited to share this interview with Jordan. It was so fun getting to catch up with her. Jordan and I met when I was in university, and I was first introduced to her through yoga. She was our athletic department yoga instructor. Her classes became a calming space in a time of chaos. Now, Jordan is in a totally different and new phase of life. She has a little boy, and she shares her experiences of being a new mom, working, balancing tricky schedules, making time for yourself, and finding passions for her own. This was such a fun interview, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Welcome back once again, and let's get going. Welcome to Grow Wild. I'm your host, Kaylee, and I'm excited to spotlight moms in all phases of life and build community in our own experiences. Let's grow together in this wild journey of motherhood. Alrighty, I am so excited for this interview. I have Jordan here with me. Welcome, Jordan.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be on here.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Jordan and I met when I was in college, and I think we met because you were our yoga instructor
Yeah.
initially. And I was trying to think back to when I first met you, and I feel like I was a freshman.
Yes, I think you were.
And it's so crazy to think we're way past that point, and I can only imagine the ups and downs of what you saw while I was in college of the whole time I was there.
Oh gosh, you were like always the best. You were always the best. You like always tried so hard and you were like so good at what you did and you were the kindest. So like there were
Oh,
no ups and downs. You were wonderful.
you have to say that because you're on here, um, but it was so much fun, and I feel like you teaching, like, being our yoga instructor, that was my introduction to yoga, and it was such a positive one, like, of all the craziness of college, that was like a safe haven. It was really nice.
Oh, I love that. Gosh, I took a yoga class when I was in college when I was pole vaulting at Oregon and I hated it.
Really?
I was like, I am never doing yoga. And my dad did yoga and I'd go home for Christmas and he'd be like, come to yoga. And I'm like, no, not a chance. But I still fell into it somehow. So I'm glad yours was super positive.
No, it was super positive. That's so funny that you didn't like it though, because now I feel as if that's such a strong part of you, who you are.
Oh yeah, big
Ugh.
part. So pole vault's not like a life sport. It's, you kind of do it in like I am coaching now, which is great. And I'm really stoked to like try to sneak into vault once or twice, but it's not a life sport. It's not, volleyball, you can get out and play. And so I got done with school. I was quite injured, and I had no hobbies anymore. I wasn't skiing because you can't ski when you're in D1. You can't risk injury. And so my dad was like, "Why don't you just go and do some yoga? Just go to a studio, get a membership, go." I was like, okay. So I went to one and I in town in Spokane and I bought a like month pass and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it. And I was not flexible at all. And I would do like my arms would go in the air and my shoulders would get lactic. I was like, I hate this. I hate this. But I slowly just like fell in love with it. And I think it was the mental and the physical portion of it. And my body just felt so much better. And I just like slowly fell in love with it. And now that was in 2013. So it's been over 10 years that it's like a constant practice for me. So it just kept going. So,
Oh, that's so amazing. And I don't know, I think about how many people you've probably impacted with, and I think it because I know it impacted me, but I think of all the student athletes that were at Gonzaga that you would see, and I am sure all of us were going through stressful times, and it really was such a calming time. Like, I loved it. It was so great.
oh, that's so nice to hear. You never know. Like, if you're like good at what you do or if you're making an impact. So it's nice to hear that it was like well received and liked. So that's
No,
great.
it was truly so great. I loved it. And so speaking of yoga, and you kind of have already touched on it, but how have you seen yoga impact your life, and what's the kind of like the relationship that you have with it right now?
Yoga, like I said, I've been doing it, so it's been probably about 13 years that I've been practicing, and that has really ebbed and flowed. When I didn't have a little one, like, I was practicing a lot. I was practicing 5, 6 times a week, and I loved it, and it was very physical. I've never been super great at the meditational, like, breath side, the calming, the, like, taking that physical element, the sweat element out of it. That hasn't been my strong point. Um, and so I feel like it has always been there, and I've had such a strong practice for so long, and it has shifted currently. I don't have the time I did, and so I have to be so intentional if I want to go to yoga. And I could do a class here in my living room or something like that, but there's something about stepping into a studio and into a class where it's just a combined, like, intentional decision to be there and to breathe and to work and to feel calm, I think. And so I'm able to step out of everything in my world. I'm not going to, like, worry about dog hair on the carpet when I'm here, which happens, and I don't want to do that. And so now I'm just so intentional about when I can go. It's like a blessing when I get to go to yoga. And right now I have seen it become something where I went all the time, and I was in great shape, and I was doing handstands and doing arm balances and everything. And I love that stuff. Right now, I'm not doing that. I'm going, and my flexibility is not what it used to be, but I'm intentional about when I go. I love getting to go, and it really draws it back to yoga as a practice. And you can be on your mat wherever you are in your practice, and it'll come back. And maybe you're not at that point, maybe you're at a different point, but it still feels so good on your body. And even more so now, yoga feels so good on my brain. It, like, I am a better person when I go to yoga. When I come out, I am nicer, I'm calmer, I just feel more grounded. And I'm sure everybody around me appreciates that. And it's so good. I don't know. I just think yoga meets you where you're at, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
I love that. I love just like the intentionality behind it as well. Cause I feel similar in things like I could put on something like a yoga class on YouTube and watch it in my living room, but actually
Mhm.
going to a class is so different and it's so nice. And it's nice to just like make that intentional move to be there and to be
Mhm.
present where I'm at. And totally true. Yoga meets you where you're at and humbles you too. Cause there's so many times
Every time.
yeah, there's so many times where I go in and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I used to be able to do this. I can still do that." And my body's like, no, actually you can't. Like, let's take a step back." And it's been really great too to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so nice is, like, you will, maybe you'll get back there, but right now you go and do what you can do, and that's enough. And that's what's so nice about it. So it's
Mhm.
once in a while, as athletes, I feel like that's really tough mentally, but I've really had to let that go and just go and enjoy it, and, like, know that you're getting so many benefits from it.
Yeah, exactly. I keep telling myself there's a time and a season for everything, and right now, like like what you were saying, I maybe need to work on more of my breathing side of it, not that I need to go and do it as like a super hard workout,
Yeah.
just being present in the moment.
Yeah, totally. I think there's a lot of benefit to that, even when it's not, like, getting a six pack, It's like
Mhm. Exactly.
like, that is the original intent of yoga, to be
Uh-huh.
fair. Like, that workout aspect that we do is, like, the most westernized thing you can do. It's
Yeah.
very American to, like, get the sweatiest workout possible out of it. So
Mhm. That's, like, been one of my biggest switches, I think, from not being an athlete anymore. Just understanding, like, every workout I do, I don't have to be, like, dying or my heart rate doesn't have to be, like, super high. Like, I can still do things that are good for my body where I'm not just, like, pushing myself to the limit.
totally. Mhm. It's a
Um,
hard but yes.
how have you noticed the parallels between your life now and just your practice with yoga as well? I recently saw your post on Instagram, and if anyone wants to go check it out, it's really great. Um, just your relationship with yoga, and I feel like there are so many parallels to what you were saying in that post to your life in the phase of motherhood that you're in.
Yeah, I think it comes back to that aspect of yoga meets you where you're at, and that's like, the biggest thing with yoga that I have come to really understand, and that it is a practice. And you'll hear people say like, I can't go to yoga, I'm not flexible. That's the whole point. It's And not the whole point, but it's a lot of it is like it's a practice to get to those points, to release certain like tightness in your hips, and to let go of things, and to breathe, and to become more intentional in everything that you do, and to calm your mind. And there's so much that you can get from yoga, and it doesn't mean it has to be, to be flexible. There's so many aspects to it, and it is a practice. You go and you like work on yourself and just release a little bit. And I feel like we're so tight in our culture that it's so nice to go and do that. And I feel like motherhood really teaches you also to do that, because you can't control every little thing. And like the first, my husband just loved this, that like a due date when you're giving birth is like it's like an approximation. It's like, hey, you might give birth on this day. And that rarely happens. I think it's like 5% of cases give birth on their due date. So my due date came and went, and I went way over. I was so pissed. I was so upset. And I was just like stressed for the next week and 3 days. And you have to just like let go and let things fall as they fall. And you can't control everything. And parenting is like that as well. You can't control everything. And you really have to have a lot of patience. And that wasn't my strong point either. So between yoga and parenting, like I'm really dialing that in these days. and and I do think that like yoga had kind of prepared me for that patience aspect. And I think motherhood has absolutely humbled me in letting go of things I cannot control, because that is life. And if you try to control it all, it just makes it so miserable. And I feel like yoga's the same way. Like you can't control everything. And it's a way to help you practice that, almost to surrender on your mat and let go of things. Like you control what you can control, and you let go of what you can't. And that's just kind of how it is. And I feel like they like collide, and they ebb and flow really well together. Motherhood and yoga have a lot of the same teachings to offer. So it's humbling. I'll give you that one.
It's totally true. And I feel like everything that you were saying, you're working on patience and the control and just letting that go and being okay with not having control of situations and being, I think, okay with like, I am going to be humbled in this process as well. Cause sometimes I think I'm a little reluctant to be like, okay, I am not the most patient in this moment and I want control of this situation, but letting that kind of happen naturally too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just we have to learn one humbly being humbled isn't bad. And I think it's like something we fight so much.
Mhm.
And to be humbled means that you hopefully that you're gonna grow and that you're gonna get better. And I don't so like I have like tried to change my thinking around being humbled, because I go to yoga now and I definitely get humbled. I'm not the superstar on a mat and kicking into things anymore, and I'm humbled all the time. I'm not what I used to be, and I'm not 22 or 25 anymore. and and parenting does the same thing. And I think to be humbled is to be given an opportunity to grow and get better. And I think that's probably the best thing we can do, honestly, is continue to grow as humans. So
Exactly. And I think that's the joy of having kids too is I you change in such a different way. And I think there's times where I think, "Oh, I wish I was still the physical like place I was at when I was 20." But then I think, but I love where I'm at right now. Like I love who I'm becoming. I love having a son. I love my family. And it's just been a really, I don't know, a really cool process. And I just love the comparison and contrast with yoga as well. Cause I think it is such a great one.
yeah, it is. I think we can all learn a lot on and off the mat and take it into our life. So just like you said.
Yeah. Along with that, I feel like balance, and I know there's lots of balancing in yoga as well, but just balance in general. So you're currently working at the North Face. Your
Mhm.
husband works a very time intensive job
Yes.
and you have a 16-month-old. That's a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, along with all of those things, how do you find time to take time for yourself and honestly just get things done along with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I won't lie, it's a lot. We have a lot on our plate right now. So My husband works for the Rockies, so he works in Major League Baseball. So he travels with the team. So one, he's in spring training currently, so he's gone for 2 months, and then he will be on the road throughout April to October. So it's pretty intensive. It's definitely a hard schedule. I don't think I knew how hard that was going to be, but it's very difficult. But it and then Jess and I, like I work full time, like you said, for the North Face, and started coaching, and then I also teach yoga for the Broncos now, which is fun. And um I think what it all comes back to is being intentional, and I have to be so intentional about my time and what's important. And that's hard. Like I definitely have times where I just need to sit down and like put a show on and like just relax and like have a moment to not do anything. But you have to be really intentional about things. I keep our house very clean. I keep things very organized. I have specific days where we order groceries and we go get them, and I also like I'm big on eating really healthy, so we're like constantly cooking and making sure that we have like good food available, because it's very easy to not want to cook and just pick things up. But I don't feel as good when I do that, and I just I want to be able to cook and be at home, and what that takes is just being so organized and being intentional. And that's in Mike is the same way. My husband, we really have to be intentional with our time with each other, which there's very little of it. And so it's just like finding, every year I sit down in the beginning of the year and write out what's important and what I want to focus on. And that's kind of how we run it. And I kind of keep a running list of things that need to get done, or where I'm at and things. And it's definitely a juggling act.
I cannot even imagine. That's a lot going on and a lot of moving parts, and I love the being intentional. I feel like I could take a master class from you because I am not organized and I need to work on being more intentional. But I love just like the idea of making a list of what's important and making sure you stick to that and have goals to try to plan it. That's my goal for this year, is really trying to work on those things as well. But it would be really hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but I think when you like write down or like sit down and really write out what's important to you, like things you don't want to lose. And on top of all that, we added he's 18 months now. And so he's so busy all on his own, and he is just like, and he wants to see and do everything, and he wants to do it on his own also, which is not very timely sometimes. And like no 18-month-old, as you know, does anything quickly, so we're and I don't want to rush him, so we do things slowly sometimes. But I think it really comes down to knowing what is worth your time and knowing what's important to you, and learning to say no to things. And like really I can't be very social, but I've learned that if I take on too many social things during the week, I'm just destroyed. And then I drop balls. I drop the things. I don't want to cook. I don't want to go to the gym and get a workout in. I don't want to go for a nice long walk. I need, I drop things that make me feel really good and grounded. And so it really comes down to like what's worth your time, and what is most important to you, your intentions, things like that. And I think when you write things down, it gives you a better opportunity to, I don't know, highlight and like move the things up that are like your top three. Like these things really matter to me, and I want to be able to get these things done. Like I always have a running list of like some like sweet hikes that I want to go do. I used to hike so much and I loved it. It was really so my when my brother passed away, I really started getting outside a lot more, and I would go hiking. And it was just because 2020 got very weird. And so he died in 2019. I was down here at the end of the year. And kind of by the beginning of the following spring in 2020, I was just outside all the time. And so there are hikes that I just want to do that are like bucket list hikes. And those things I kind of keep like a running list on my fridge of like, hey, these are things I want to do. So if I see an opening in my schedule, instead of going to the mall or doing something like that, we load the car up and we go. And I take Jess and we go get it done. So it's really just like kind of keeping things top of mind also of the things that you really want to do.
I love that. And it's just, I think I'm kind of learning the same thing as well. Like the slow moments are okay. I think before I would get really nervous about like being slow and oh, it takes his time doing things. And even just like walking down the stairs out of our apartment, like he wants to do it on his own. And
Mm,
that could take an extra 5 minutes. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I need to be in a rush. I need to go do this. But just taking the time to be like, you know what, I can be here in this moment and I can enjoy it. And I think it's good too, because it's learning me also again, like to be patient, and
mm,
it's okay to just be in this phase of life right now. Cause same with me, like we have a bucket list of things that we want to do in Southern California, and they can't happen all the time right now. And even like at the end of my pregnancy, I want to go do these things, but I have to remind myself I am pushing my body in a different way right now.
exactly.
I can be okay not to go crush this hike, or we can just do a nature walk instead of packing us all up and I'm having to carry it. Like it can just be these fun things to let him also enjoy what we're doing as well.
I think there were a couple quotes that I saw, especially when I was like early on with Jess when he was very little, or even when I was kind of right where you're at, like just about to have a baby. And it was like they'll never be that little again. And the only way they learn is to get to do things. And I also there was this quote that was like rushing a child is like creating anxiety for them. And I just hate the thought of that. And so, even though I'm probably full of anxiety sometimes and I'm rushing because I'm trying to get 15 things done, I really try to never rush him out the door. I try to never rush him downstairs or like, because I just want him to enjoy and get to do things that, like, I don't want to just have to pick him up and rush him into the car. I want him to feel it and to do it and not to have anxiety and not feel like I'm rushing him. So I always really try to be careful. Like I can have anxiety, but I don't ever want to put it on him. And I want him to be able to do the things that's how they learn to be little people, and it's fun to
Exactly.
watch them like explore the world. Like he is stoked when he gets to stare on his own. He is so excited. And it's so
Exactly. It's
cute.
been I feel like this phase is really fun because they're just figuring things out. Like they know their body now. They know how to run, they know how to do different things. And I don't know, I think I we're probably like the messiest. Like I just am like, you know what, you're gonna play in the dirt and your clothes are gonna get dirty and that's how it's gonna be. But I know you're having fun and you're discovering new things. And I
Mhm.
still feel like the urge inside to be like, okay, that means like more laundry later. But I also then take the moment to be like, wow, he's discovering the world that he lives in. And that is so joyous as well.
Oh, you're a saint. I need to work on that one. That's the one
It's
thing I
hard. It's hard, but I'm just like, you know what? I just have to let go and be like, you know what? This is where we're at right now.
Yeah, you are 100% right.
It's hard though. I'm still working, not perfect at all.
I'm like I am such a clean freak. It's so hard for me to just let him play in like dirt or get dirty. I'm like, oh my god, gosh, this
Cuz then
is
you have a running list. You're like, okay, well now I need to make sure this is clean, or I need to have an extra pair of clothes or
really.
all these things. But I don't know. I'm like, you know what? I just need to see the joy in the moment and see how much fun he's having. But there's definitely times where I'm like, no, we cannot do this right now. I need you to stay clean because we have this, and this that we have to go do after.
All right, this is something I need to add to my. This is my list of something I need to just like calm down on. Just like let him play in the dirt, let him relax.
Well, I need to work on my organization skills so we can just swap those.
Support each other.
Yeah. um I going back to just like busy schedules and kind of the craziness out there. And like you said, your husband has a really time intensive job and you're left solo parenting a lot of the time. So, how has that been for you? Because I know a lot of parents and a lot of moms or just families out there, just with different jobs, a lot of families are left solo parenting for a good portion of the time. So, how do you get through kind of those hard and difficult times where it is just you?
Gosh, I wish I had like a really insightful, like really solid answer for this. And I just don't. I just do it. I just didn't fully understand how intense this baseball schedule was, and it is so intense. He has gone so much. And then on top of it, it's very even when he's home, you know, he goes to the stadium at 10:30, 11 each day, and he comes home at about 11. So it's not like when he comes home, we have like an off day and we're like hanging out and we're here and doing things. And that's just not it. We're, you know, we get maybe a couple hours in the morning to like intentionally go get coffee and go for a walk. And that's about it. And so it's very hard. So we travel on the road to see him quite a bit. Just so that we can sometimes like he won't go to the stadium until noon on the road or 1 o'clock. And so we get like a little bit more time. Um, but it is really hard. Solo parenting is not, it's not easy. It's not, and I think it's hard. You know, I think Jess, especially as he's older now, he knows his dad and he knows he's not here. And he's very excited to see him when he gets to. And, you know, Jess and I in general, we actually have gotten quite good at solo parenting. And I think probably to our own detriment. Like we have figured it out, we can do it. I can operate pretty much on my own and get this done. And I have a woman here that is a godsend and she helps me a few times a week. And I don't know if I could live without her right now. But you know, it is hard. And I don't think I ever gave people enough credit for solo parenting or you know, stay at home moms. Like that solo parenting, though my husband's gone a lot and maybe doesn't come home at night most times, it's really no different than a stay at home mom who's there with her baby or babies all day long on her own. And I feel like you just really have to find a support system and like people who will listen and not judge you and and tell you you can do this and you're doing a good job. And you really just kind of need like that cheerleader in your corner that's like, hey, you're doing it. You're doing a good job. And because you really need to hear that sometimes. And yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I don't have a great answer for it. I feel like in hard times you either rise or you fall. And I feel like with a baby, you don't have a choice. You rise. And to be honest, you love them so much that you would never do anything else. So I like you can't express. I remember somebody telling me like you just don't know. I think I asked my mom. I was like, "Am I gonna love this baby like right away? Like, will I just love him when he comes out?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, you will." And and there's just no preparing you for how much you will love this child. And so even if you're solo or whatever your situation is, you'll do it. I just moms are the strongest people alive. Like you will get it done and you will do what's best for that baby and it makes no difference what the situation is. I just believe we are like such warriors. It's wild.
I totally agree. And I asked my mom the same thing. I was like, so nervous I wasn't going to love him. I was like, what if I don't love him when he comes out? And she's like, just wait. Like, and I know for women, it like comes in like at
Totally.
different times, but I remember the moment where I was like, oh my goodness, I love this little dude and I would do anything for him. But
Hmm.
I mean, it is crazy. Like, I think you're a saint for going through all of this and especially like other moms and single parents and solo parents. But I love what you said about finding a good support team. I totally underrated that. I think going into it, knowing how much I would really rely on my people.
Hmm.
And it's been so good to know like I have people that are in my corner to love and help me outside of like my husband and I. Cause there's times where he's gone too and I have to do things on my own. But it's nice knowing like, okay, I have the support in these hard times. I don't know how people would do it by themselves. Like, because I need my people. And it's been so nice to know how much I'm loved in this new journey as well.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what it is. You need those people that love you and the baby and are willing to do anything for you. And you know, I think prior to having Jess, I was very like I wouldn't ask for help from anybody. I help would have to be forced upon me. And literally, like people just have to show up. Like I wasn't great at it. I would just do it and I'd be drowning and I'd still just do it. And you know, I had to just I can't do that anymore. And I still have moments where I don't ask and these people still show up. And I really couldn't do it without them. And so, and in a lot of it, also, it's just like my parents are incredible. They help me in any aspect. They field sometimes 4 or 5 phone calls a day, and bless their heart, I'm sure some parents are like, "Oh, they're 18, they're going to school, I won't hear from them." And my parents talk to me all day long. So, I, you know, those support systems is like what keeps us kind of afloat. And I think it's just that is like such important aspect of being a mom is having help. And so,
That's so funny you said that because seriously, I think it was like last week. I was having just like a really rough day. My husband was gone for a really long time as well, like, and was going to be gone for a while. And then with work and just school things. And my mom had called me and I was trying so hard not to cry. Like, I just didn't want to dive into it in the moment. And she knew, she's like, you just sound sad. And I was like, I am, but I just can't talk about it right now. Like, I need to get things done. And so she ended up calling one of my friends here. And then my friend called me and she's like, how are you? And I just started bawling. And she's like, I know you're not okay. And she's like, don't blame your mom. But she's like, what can I do to help? And in the moment, I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, oh my goodness, I am a grown woman. I need to be able to do this on my own. But it was really nice knowing, okay, my support team has my back. And
mm,
I ended up finding us, she came and watched Owe It for a bit, and I went out and did my own thing. And like, it just was so nice to know I'm not alone in this whole process as well.
totally. I think it's huge. It's so big. And I don't, the amount of times I call my parents and I'm in tears is pretty significant, but
I know, me too.
but it's what allows me to like keep going and like they a lot of times it's just like a sounding board. Like I need to walk through things with someone and hear it out and like have them like
Yes. And sometimes it's just nice to cry. I've learned that. Sometimes I just need to cry and then I'm like way better after.
yeah, yeah. I can really handle a lot more if I just get like a solid if I just get it out.
Yes, exactly. Um, and so transitioning to another thing, how has it been? So you and your husband, you shared with me that like both of you hadn't really been around babies that much and you didn't really know what to expect. And I think that is relatable for a lot of families out there. Even if you like are ready, which I don't know who has ever said like they're ready for a child.
Yeah.
Um, how has that transition been like becoming a mom and becoming a family?
Gosh, yeah. So Mike and I had held one baby, like one little baby, and I really had no interest in babies. I really like they were cute, they're cute, but I was like, I don't. And they're babies are so humbling. Like sometimes you'll like want to like play cutesy with them, and they will just not even give you anything, and you're like, okay, I'll just. You don't like me very much. That's fine. And so I'd held my one of my best friends. She had a baby. They're like a year and a couple months apart, and so I held Della for the first time, and she was very little, and I was very scared. And but that was it. And I don't think Mike had held any babies, and we had never even like changed a diaper, like nothing. And I remember we were in like the hospital, and we were staying the night, and they the nurse came in and was going to change the diaper or had said we needed to or something like that, and Mike was like, could you walk us through that? So I'm in bed, he's like walking through with the nurse like changing the baby because they like we took a class, but like it's with a doll, it's very different. These things love to just like they love to move a lot. Little ones, they move so much when you're changing them. And so we were both like, oh my gosh. And every time we would change a diaper, we'd be like, we swear we'll get better. We swear we'll get better. And so that we didn't know what we were doing. And we took a class, but, it just kind of gives you the basics. But honestly, I feel like as soon as Jess came, I felt so good being his mom. And I felt really quite confident in it. And probably I called my mom one time and I was like, I feel more confident in being a mom than I have in anything else in my life, which, is it's like good and bad, but I just felt so good in knowing like my instincts were really strong with him. And I felt just like an innate ability to take care of him. Like I knew what he needed right away. I felt just so strongly in like the way that we were raising him and what we were doing. We read all the books. We had a lot of good friends that have children that are a little older that gave us a lot of advice and just like options and things like that. But, we felt really good in what we were doing. And so, like, I feel like the transition was far easier than I thought it was going to be, considering I didn't know anything going into it. And so, and we just really, and even Mike, like, my husband, about 3 days after he was born, he had to go back on the road. So he had to leave really quickly. But even he, like, definitely had strong opinions on like how we raise a baby, even though neither of us knew anything. And I think we forget, like, yes, books are great, the internet's great, you can Google anything, there's like 600 apps that you can download, great. Like, they're great to like cross reference, but also like you have a gut instinct, and I do believe people should really listen to it. Like, you know, that baby, especially moms, you grew that baby. Like, listen to your gut, listen to how you feel you should be raising your little one. And I just think that, like, I feel so strongly about it. And have I done everything right? No, definitely not. Like, I'm still not sleeping through the night 100%. And I have friends that are like, he sleeps 12 hours. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? But for the most part, like, I still feel good about it. And I think you just have to listen for what's right for you and what's right for your baby.
That's so beautiful. And I just think there's nothing else like having a baby. I think back to those beginning months are just such a blur. There's nothing else I would say in this life that is really like that. And I
Mm-mm.
love that you said that you're most confident with that because I feel the same way. Like, I even think back to just playing sports, and there are times where I felt super confident, and sometimes where I was like, I am probably the least confident out here. But even with motherhood, at the end of the day, your little one is still going to run up to you and
Mhm.
still going to love you. And I think that confidence just grows because you're like, you know what? They trust me to take care of them every single day. And I don't want to let them down. But you also know, like, that instinct to, like, I know what they need. And I don't know, it's just so beautiful.
It is. It's definitely, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to feel that way, but we just know. And I think we forget to listen sometimes, and we really do know what's best and what feels best for us, what feels best for them. And there's a lot of noise out there, and I think it's really important for moms just to, like, yes, take all of that into consideration, but do what's best for you and what's best for the baby. And I think moms know what that is.
I love that. And this kind of goes into my next question because you were talking with me about just like understanding that a mom knows what's best for their baby. And we live in a world where you can get advice from anyone and anywhere, whether that's online or social media or just friends or family. And it's a lot to take in. Like, I think being a new mom at the beginning, you're just so bombarded with like so much advice, so many funny things people tell you, and you're like, I really didn't need to know that. Or sometimes it's good advice and it's like, okay, maybe I'll bank that in for later. But at the end of the day, every baby is different and every family is different. So when did it really start to resonate with you? Like, I know what's best for my baby and feel confidence in that.
Gosh, and to pretend that I was, like, always confident in it would be a lie. Like, there were definitely times where I was like, "Mike, are we doing this right?" Because you get advice from everyone and everywhere, and it's very hard. Sometimes you're like, "Ooh, is that everybody's doing this? Am I supposed to be doing that?" And for example, like the cried out method, it works for some people. I couldn't even go near it. Wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't look at a book. Wouldn't even. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing it. And so, and it works really well for some people, and I bet they are far more rested than I am, and that's great. But it didn't work for me, and I think as I don't know, we just started to kind of, I don't know. I don't know when we decided that it worked for us, but it just did. And we travel a lot. I travel a lot with Jess. And like, Jess went to Italy at 8 weeks. I had a work trip, and we just took him. My husband went with me. He was in off season, and we took him and we went. And Jess had been, this is slightly controversial, but he had been sleeping with me. And we had a bedside bassinet. He'd spend some time in there, and then he'd sleep with me. And that worked best for us, still works best for us, because we travel so much and I travel alone. And so for me to be able to carry all of those things that you need to be able to have a crib that travels with you and everything else, it's just another thing that I don't have an arm for. And so everything we did just kind of had to support how we were living and what we did, and Jess went everywhere with me. And so We just kind of learned what we needed and what worked best for Jess, what he needed, and what Jess needed was me to be with us. And I nursed him exclusively, so that made things very easy, and he was able to just go. And he was so he had 38 flights before his first birthday. So he traveled a lot and he got so good at it. And so we just learned on the fly what was best for us. Like some people are terrified of traveling with a baby. Rightfully so. It can be a little testy, but you know, I think you just have to do what's best for your family and what works for you. And I think you become confident in that the more you do it. Is it scary? Yes. Is taking an 8-week old to Italy like to the top of my list of like things you should do? Yes. Very scary though. For the first flight, a little scary, but like it works for us. And like I think you just get more and more confident in those things that you've decided to do. And so I think it's just and truly it's not what worked for us may not work for anybody else. It's what's best for you and your family.
I think that is just a great piece of advice. I think for honestly everyone, because I remember even before having Owit being, I don't want to say like judgmental, but being like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to be like this. And it's funny when you have your own, you change along the way. Like there's things that
Totally.
you adapt and evolve. And I have learned like, this is how my family does it. Great for you. I love that for you. And I love that that works for you. And it's so funny because I think of all of us as adults, we are all so different and we're all so individual. And why wouldn't a baby be like that as well? They're going to have their own personality. They're going to have their own things that they need. And I've just learned, and even I'm excited for like our second to be see the differences between the two. But I just think we can not compare ourselves as much and not be judgmental towards others because what is best for you is best for your family. And that might not be what's best for me, but that's great. That's totally okay. And we can learn and grow together.
I think that is like that's one of the things you learn right off the bat. Is like I remember like distinctly, I would see like a baby sock on the ground. I'd be like, "Who lost their kid's sock?" I'm like, "Who did that? Like, how do you lose a sock, man?" And and now I'm like, "This is how you lose socks. Like, they don't
Mm-hmm.
stay on feet; they're everywhere. Like, you just lose socks, you know." And but before I was like, "Man, that's so ridiculous. How do you lose a sock?" And it's just you just everybody's doing the best. Everybody is doing what's best for them. And I think you learn really quickly to not be judgmental. Like you are doing your best and you're doing what's best for you guys. That is great. That literally is all you should be doing. And it's not up to me. It makes no difference to me what you do and what you decide to do and what fits your family. So like
Exactly.
I think you learn really quickly to not be judgmental because it'll come back at you real hard.
Yes. And I feel like it just takes too much energy. It takes too much energy for me to be like, oh my goodness, how are they even making that work? How is that going on? Whereas I'm just like, okay, I guess that's how it goes for them and good for them. It doesn't matter what other people are doing to raise their children because at the end of the day, I'm not in charge of them. I'm in charge of my own kid and my family. And I don't know, it's been I think a really good learning curve for me and helping me be a better person.
I agree. I think you stop worrying about other people. You're like, you do what's best for you. I'll do what's best for me, and that is
Yes.
great.
I don't have the energy for anything more than that.
Never. I do not have it. I'm on my third coffee. I do not have the energy to worry about your children.
Exactly. Another topic that we kind of have already started touching on was adapting with your baby.
Mhm.
And I feel very passionate about this as well. And it was fun just talking to you about it. And because I'm not a homebody, I think I get stressed out when I'm at home too long. And I really love to have to-do lists. And even though that is stressful as well, and I feel like I need to get a lot done, but I love being able to be with my son and be with my family out doing the things that we really love to do. So, how have you seen yourself adapt and grow with your own son? And how do you just continue to be confident in what you continue to do?
Yeah. You know, I will say everybody always says, like, you see the memes on Instagram and they're like, we're going to do all of this with our kids and we're going to do, actually, like, I was able to kind of keep, I think one of the best things we did with Jess was I continued to do all the things that I normally do and that I love. Are they at the same pace or the same level? No, but he goes everywhere and does everything with me. I did not have the rigidity with him, for better or worse. I did not have like a nav schedule, and and bless every other mother soul who told me to get him on a schedule. But he kind of fell into it on his own. Like we learned at like 9:30 to 10, he's probably going to go down. Like 2 o'clock to 3, he's going to go down at some point. And so it just kind of worked. But I feel like we just really just kept doing all the things that we normally do and just incorporated him into it, which I think is a thing that I'm probably most proud of in like my motherhood journey, is that I love having him with me. And is it the same? Like, is my life the same? No, but it's better. And I love doing everything with him. Is it more stressful sometimes? Yeah. Do things always go according to plan? No. Like I tried to go on a hike last night and I have this great like hike. I think it's like Swedish or something, but it's like it sits on your shoulders and then he sits behind you. And it's awesome. But if he's tired and he takes a nap, all he does is like fall forward onto me. And so within and I should have known better because we were like right at the nap time and he'd been playing with other kids. But we got like 10 minutes into this hike and I just feel him starting to slump forward on me. And I was like, okay, there we go. And so I had to like take him out and carry him back to the trailhead and get him back in the car and go home. And like, it doesn't always pan out. But I think when you continue to live and continue to do things and you don't isolate children, they do become adaptable and they become interested in these things and they want to go do things, and they aren't surprised when you do it. And so like just flying is a great example. He's been flying for so long. Like we just flew to Arizona 2 weeks ago and he hadn't flown in a few weeks or a few months since December. And so I was a little bit nervous. I was like, oh, he's very mobile. I was like, this could be interesting. Got on the plane, nurse, went to sleep. And he just, because we kind of ingrained it in him, that's what he did. When we get on a plane, he's very excited, but he nurses and goes to sleep and takes a nap. And that's what he does. And so he's become very easy to fly with, easy to travel with. And I don't know, I do believe that if we bring them along and incorporate them instead of hiding them or feeling nervous about having them in public or anything like that, I feel like you create a very adaptable, very like curious, very loving, very fun child that really wants to be with you. And in the way that we live right now, I am so busy and trying to juggle so many things that it's best when he's with me. Then we do these things together. And it's not me running around for an entire day and I get 2 hours with him at night. We do it all. And it's not always easy, but it is always worth it.
I love that. I was just reflecting on some of the things that we have this year and just goals, and even just like, oh, it's going to be 2 in a couple months. And
Mm.
I think back to like the very beginning when he was first born, and I had this list of like all the things that I wanted to do and I didn't want to give up. And I think I'm honestly like kind of proud to say like we didn't give up on those things. Like we still do. Our way of travel is like we love road trips. We love, and we live in an area where like there's so many things around us and we'll drive for a really long time, but oh, it does great in the car. Like he really has learned to be okay with it. And the other weekend we were out in the Sequoia National Forest and we were out driving in all these different areas, but he did great. And then as soon as he knows like he gets to get out of the car, then he's exploring the outside. And that's all we have wanted for him, was for him to also share our love for the outdoors that
Mhm.
we have, and that it's been fun seeing him be able to explore that. Because when he was like just a little baby, I would always strap him on and we would go. And I remember there were stressful times with that and wanting to just make sure things went smoothly. But I'm learning now, like, it doesn't have to go smooth and there's going to be bumps. And it's okay if, like, we're not going to go do this crazy hike, but we're going to do this really cool nature walk, or we're going to go do this really awesome thing. And there's still so much to explore. And it's really fun to see him explore the area that we're in too.
Yeah. You know, it made me think, right after I gave birth, and I think this is hard as athletes. Like you're pregnant, you gain weight, like your body changes, like it's really hard. It's a hard thing to go through when you've trained your whole life to be a certain way, and then you have to let go of your body and let it grow this,
Yes.
and it's very hard. And I remember just like thinking to myself and like knowing, okay, I'm growing a human. And this was right when I was like towards the end. I am not going to press my body coming out of this. I'm not going to start running right away or like lifting or like getting after it. I want to give myself like a full 6 to 8 weeks to recover and to be and to nurse and to not press. And I really learned, and I did do it. I did not press. I did nice walks in our neighborhood. I took Jess and I'd strap him on. I took him everywhere and we'd go for walks and we'd see things. But I did not press. And I feel like when they are little like that, it is so important to just let your body recover and I don't know. It's just you don't need to press them and you don't need to press like if you don't need to go on the crazy hike. You can go on the nature walk and it's just a different season of life and I feel like it's such a nice thing to lean into instead of pressing to get back. You know what I mean? It's like we have such a bounce back culture and I just loathed that term. Like I loathed it. I was like that is so mean. and, and the whole time I wanted to ease back into being who I am, knowing that who I am is now a little different and the activities I'm going to do are a little different. It can be the nature walk. It can be going to the beach and just exploring. It doesn't always have to be the biggest baddest thing that is out there, you know? And so I feel like also as a mom, learning to not always press is so important.
Exactly. And that is, I think, the biggest area I'm learning, and just learning to take the time and enjoy the slow moments. And it's so funny because I remember my mom, she is now working through some of the things that she's been, I think, holding as like a mom for since I was little. And I remember she shared with me, like, one of her psychiatrists was like sharing with her, because my mom kept saying, I just am not the same person I was. After my third kid, I just never felt like who I was like I wasn't getting back to that. And her psychiatrist was like, well, you're never going to get back to that. You have 3 kids now. Things have changed. Your life is different now with kids, and you're not going to be single and who you were at 20. And that really resonated with me because I, at the beginning, was like, oh my goodness, I need to bounce back to this tip top shape and all these other things. And then now I'm like, you know what? It's crazy. You're growing a human. It
Mhm.
takes 9 months to get there, because my mom kept telling me it took you 9 months to get there. Give yourself so much time after,
Yeah,
because it takes a long time and a lot of things change in your body. And I think just being patient as well. It goes back to that, just being patient with whatever key term, patience. But
sure.
um yeah, I think it just takes time and learning that you're different now, and that different is really good. Like I wouldn't want to not have my son in my life, and I'm going to be better because of it.
Totally. And I do feel like we go through so much with birth and with nursing and with everything else and lack of sleep and to press is just a disservice to our bodies at this point. Like my goal is not to look the way I used to. It's to be a good mom. Like, do I want to be healthy? Yes. And I want to make sure that I am healthy and happy because then I am at my best for Jess. But the goal is no longer for a six pack. It's to feel good. and it's to like just be able to keep up with him and to do all the things that I love to do. And half the time it's with a little extra, like 20 pounds on my back now. But it's, it really is just, I want to be healthy and happy. And I don't pressing and putting pressure on yourself to bounce back. It's just such a nasty thing that our culture does. We're not the same and you're not going to be the same. You just grew a human and you birthed a human and it's wild and it's so impressive. And if it doesn't change you, like I can't imagine it not. I don't even understand how that would happen. So like it should change you and it should change you in good ways and create a new human out of it. You're going to have new elements to you, which I think is amazing.
Exactly. I love the evolution that I am in right now. I love that I love that I am just continuing to grow. I think it's really nice just to know, you know what, like I am becoming a better person. Am I great all the time? Absolutely not. And do I have so much more to grow in? Yes, but there's already been so much that I have grown in. But
Yeah.
it has been so great talking with you. I feel like we could just chat forever about a million things. But my final question for you is, in this wild journey of motherhood, how have you grown as a woman?
Gosh, I think motherhood, it changed me uh, beyond words can explain. I feel like I grew up so much, which is wild. I know I'm 35, so like I should be a grown up by now, but I feel like I just grew so much and I just became more patient and became more thoughtful in the things that I do and became more intentional. And I just, I can't even, I can't even imagine my world without him. And it just made me a better human in the process. And that was probably the coolest thing. And I think you just can't, I really truly learned, you love everyone. I love my husband. I love my parents, and but you just, true love, you don't understand it until you have this little baby that just changes your entire world. And I just feel so grateful to be able to, I don't, kind of usher him through the world and help him learn and grow. I do just feel so grateful and lucky to have him. So I don't know. I definitely changed beyond words can explain, but it's
It's so true. And I think that was a perfect response. And it just,
it's hard to put into words.
it
But
is, it's really hard, but there's so much growth and so much change. But I have loved hearing your thoughts and your pieces of advice and all the things you're going through. It's been great to listen. So I'm really grateful that you were here today.
no, thank you so much for having me. It was fun to chat.
A special thank you to Jordan for being open and sharing her motherhood experiences. I know I have a lot that I can learn from her. For all of those that continue to support Grow Wild, thank you and welcome back. I can't wait to continue to share more of the amazing stories that I have. For now, I am still in the middle of a new phase of myself with having another kiddo, so I can't wait to keep you updated on all of that. See you next time.